Hello and welcome back to the Conversation Is podcast. I'm Charlie Pitson and with me is Joshy by himself.
I'm back again. Hello,
Back
everybody.
again. Yeah, 4th episode. It's like a residential spot right now for you, isn't it?
It's almost like I live here, you know.
Yeah, that you do. Anyway, let's get started with Shaun of the Dead.
I just love these films. I think it's the other two are really good.
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz is a lot better than World's End, to be fair.
I was gonna say, as we do, like, do you want to rank you, all three of them? What would you be your, like top spot?
I think Shaun of the Dead's just top spot for me because it's the first one I saw. By the time I'd seen it first, Hot Fuzz was already out.
Yeah.
But I still went back and watched Shaun of the Dead first. I think I can admit that maybe Hot Fuzz is maybe a better film, but
yeah, but that's just
I like Shaun of the Dead more because I like zombie films, or good zombie films at least.
Yeah,
and World's End is just kind of there.
Yeah,
I think it's people make it sound a lot worse than it actually is.
Yeah,
just because it's not as good as the other two.
Do you think it was weird watching it the other day in Hindi? Did it make it better?
What, for the 10 minutes that we watched it?
We watched the whole 10 minutes. It was absolutely
in Hindi. Yeah,
it was funny though.
It was great. I liked it.
It was great. I didn't understand what they were saying,
but I did go back and watch it again the other day just properly, and it does. I just don't. It's not as. How do I put this? I would say it's just not as funny as Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz. They're effortlessly funny, Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, where I feel like a lot of the jokes in World's End fall flat.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's kind of like, oh yeah, I guess that's a bit funny, but like it's not really. Like Shaun of the Dead was just very smart. Everything about it was top notch.
I'd say if I'm the same, I'd rank them in release order. But that's just because I saw Shaun of the Dead not long after it came out. I think when it was on. I think when we still had NTL. I remember having NTL. Christ. I think that it might be before that, but yeah, we watched it on their on-demand thing, and I remember watching it. But like, I the first time I saw the David scene where he just gets absolutely fucking shredded to bits.
Yeah, I was just like, oh,
haunts me. Like, I still can't watch it because I ruined it when I was like
it goes from 0 to 100
8 or 9 years old. Like.
Do you know what I didn't notice in this first bit? Because I always notice something new about this film, and it's great. Is that Mary, the zombie that gets impaled in the garden, is in this sequence.
Yeah,
she's in the shopping
cashier.
Center. Yeah, she's the cashier. I never noticed that. I don't know why. There's just small things all the time. Because every part of this film is made so like meticulously. Oh.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Yeah.
Everything's there for a reason. Look how fucking dreadfully untidy that apartment is. It's just a bin in the corner that's been turned over. Like, I love these cuts as well.
I'm starting to get distracted by the film now a little bit.
No. I think it's good. I like those. I like the zoom cuts. These they're so good.
It's the way he does, like, you know, usually if you see like sub films or scripts or whatever, and I've read a lot. I've probably written a few like it where you explain everything they do in their morning and how they do it, and this just kind of takes the piss and also does it like a really.
It does it
way.
So quickly though, and that's the way it should be. Is that he'll have it will only be the conversations that are the bits that are drawn out.
Yeah,
and then it's
like
just
quick,
and then it's
through,
like it's like 3 cuts later and is into the next conversation. 3 cuts and then is next part of the conversation. It's great
because like the opening of Clerks takes a long time. Like it shows you Dante getting ready for work, and it's just like you don't need to see. What they do
you
it,
don't
like,
need to see
you
that.
don't need to see like 5 seconds and then like spread in butter on toast or something, and they just do this really well.
Do you know what's great about this film as well? Is it definitely now started to make me feel a bit old, because they have landlines and the games they're playing and everything are very old, and it's a bit
Time Splitters 2.
Yeah, it's Time Splitters 2. They have landlines. Like, I mean, they have a vinyl player, which is not many people have vinyl players now.
Oh.
Like,
Well, we do.
Yeah, we do, but like, it's not something that
actually a lot of people have vinyl players these days. Like these, the Crosley ones and stuff. Like the ones you get from HMV, and they're like 80 quid, and they break after like a year.
But I only know like 2 people with vinyl players, you and Will, and that's it. Like, I feel like they definitely would have been more. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm getting a bit distracted by them. It's fun.
It's pretty funny. No, yeah, well,
I like them. I like vinyl players. They're really cool. But
are they hipster?
They are a little bit hipster now. I think it's a cool hipster thing to have, but
but when it sounds like mine though, I'm more like a middle-aged man who's like collected blues records all his life and sips bloody Scotch whiskey when he gets home for a tiring day at the office.
Do you know what it is? It's another thing as well. Is that people don't really collect films anymore, like physical copies of films. Yeah. But that's what I mean. Is is that it's a really cool thing to do. But I feel like people younger than us wouldn't understand why you do it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason why I still find it baffling that DVDs themselves are still going.
Yeah,
that's such. It feels a pretentious thing to say, but
DVDs. It's like people still doing videos. Or like VHS tapes. And
yeah,
stuff like
I mean, think of the technology we have now, man. Like everyone's cell phone. Everyone's smartphone is probably 4K screen, and they go out buying DVDs, rewatching it, and it just kind of spins me out. It's like, well, why would you watch something good quality on your phone, but not when you're actually watching a film? It's just kind of like,
yeah, I get you.
I mean, it's like a metaphor for like shooting on film and digital. Like, why stream something when you could have like look at this now? This actually looks pretty decent. Like, I say pretty decent, looks fucking exceptional.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, streaming, you wouldn't have as black bars as that. Do you know what I mean?
It just wouldn't be as good, wouldn't it? I do love another thing about these films that I love is the fact that they're so British, but
yeah,
it's comedy. It's comedy that like
the bus scene, especially. Like it's all like the society is a zombie already, so might as well make them zombies.
Exactly,
and like they do that at the start with everyone waiting in line, and like the trolley guy and Mary on the cashier, just like everyone's just kind of like a drone, like a zombie. Anyway, they could modernize this one really well by using smartphones.
Yeah, they could.
Like, if I feel like we should do a Shaun of the Dead reboot where we copy the exact same thing, but we just make it modernized. So, these electrical stores don't really exist anymore. Or they're just cash gens now.
This is my thing. Like
Curry's and PC World.
Is that these you wouldn't see young people working in these places anymore. It just doesn't happen.
Not this young anyway. That ginger kid looks about 10.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's a great representation of what the UK actually feels like. Mm-hmm. Because this is exactly what the UK feels like.
I think it's just
especially for me, because someone who's from North London, I grew up around places like this.
Yeah,
like it's brilliant. That kid takes a really long time to open that door, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. I always thought he's opening the door, and then the people weren't even there when he's opening it. And as soon as he opens it, boom, they're there. But they were waiting there the entire time. Like, dude, how the fuck does it take you so long to open a door? It's like us trying to get in our flat. It's just like fucking 3 times.
Yeah. And then you wonder if somebody's in, because I've been in before, and when you've come back to the flat and you've been trying to open it for like 20 seconds, and like, should I go and do it, or really should I go and open?
Is he drunk?
It's like, because I feel like if I get up to go and open the door, you would have got in by then. So it's like, yeah.
No, I'm terrible at that though. I always overshoot it too much. You barely got to open.
Yeah.
You literally got to go like this. It's like a little bit to the right, like a tiny bit to the right. It's so weird. It's normally left that opens the door. Why is it right here? That's stupid.
I don't know.
No, because this film has like been through so many, like YouTube videos and articles, like 15 to 20 things you might have missed in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
There's so many of those classic
little
film that YouTubers like to analyze all the time.
So obviously you've probably seen those videos. So there's not much like I could be like.
Yeah, but and then you watch through them. It's like 15 to 20 things you might not know about Shaun of the Dead. You watch through them, and you're like, well, I knew all of that. Give me something new, like.
I might make a video and call it 15 Things You Missed in Shaun of the Dead and point out things that just weren't in the film.
Yeah,
because they would have missed it because it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Or just like CGI some things in. That's a weird shot.
It's a weird shot, but I really like it. I like this.
He's also got an obsession with flowers as well. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
He's always buying flowers in each film.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, sorry, I keep forgetting. I always forget the World's End is involved in that, and it's just like that's one thing I think what makes it so much different, and that's why we love Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz way more, is due to the running gags in the first two.
Yeah.
They don't. Not many of them pop up as much. The reveal of the cornetto in the third one was such a write-off. With just the rapper flying past.
They definitely forgot about it.
Honestly, they could have made Andy Nick Frost character. They could have like made him like I says like one thing he loves, or like he just brings a cornetto into work with him or something like that, and it's just like they all share this kind of love for cornettos.
Do you know what I've also noticed as well? Is they kind of switch roles in the third one.
Yes, it's not
in the first and the second one. Nick Frost's character is a fuck up.
But the problem with that is right. Simon Pegg's always going to be the leading actor in all of them.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
So like, could you imagine the World's End with Andy as the main character and not Gary?
Yeah,
it wouldn't make sense.
It wouldn't make sense.
I mean, he was really really good as Gary King. Like
really good.
It's just the story wasn't bad. It was just I think for me it was just the similarities between the first two which made it kind of like. The cornetto duo or whatever.
When I watched The World's End the other day, I can't remember seeing a scene where they jump over fences because it's in both of the first.
Yeah, there's
films.
a scene where Simon Pegg's with Rosamund Pike. I can't remember her name in the film though. Martin Freeman's sister.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I've taken a shortcut before," and he goes, "I mean, he just falls flat on it. It's great."
But
that wasn't
it's just
bad.
Little things like that, Yeah. It's great seeing him in every one of the films. But you said Ed's probably one of the best characters.
Ed is hands down the greatest Cornetto trilogy character, closely followed by Nicholas Angel, and then Shaun.
Oh, do you know what? I might have Nicholas Angel above Ed.
Oh, you can't
just because of how over the top he is in the beginning of the film.
That's true, but like it's the little quips that Ed comes out with when he's like, "Oh yeah, your mum rang, asked, blah blah blah. Liz asked if you're gonna eat out tonight, and it's like your mum also asked if I would eat her out tonight."
yeah, stuff like that.
I think it's because he reminds me of people I know. Like he's quite relevant to like me, so like I know so many people who are like got the similar personality to Ed, so. I think that's why I find it funny. Edgar Wright is the voice of the
restaurant guy.
The restaurant guy, yeah. I think he's a zombie as well. I can't remember.
I do really love the fact that the pubs are so significant in these films.
Yeah, well, the World's End mainly.
Oh yeah, the World's End,
13 pubs
but they're going to the Winchester in this film. They bond at the pub in the second film all the time.
Yeah.
There's the famous...
It's almost as if drinking solves all your issues, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. All the time.
We don't promote that. That was a joke. No, this is the first... I think this is the first Edgar Wright film. Yeah. We've done.
Is it?
Yeah.
Play.
It's taken such a long time. We were going to do Hot Fuzz like a few months ago, and then
you can't do Hot Fuzz without doing.
I know.
Shaun of the Dead first,
and then we just forgot about it, and then we made a schedule, and then we kind of stuck to that till now, pretty much. And yeah, I'm glad I'm starting out with the first one, and then just. But would you do Scott Pilgrim or World's End first? That's the question. I do the trilogy and then do the other two, just because it makes sense to like.
Yeah, I've actually only seen the Cornetto trilogy though.
No, he's got Pilgrim.
No, I haven't.
You've seen Baby Driver?
I've seen Baby Driver actually. Yeah, never mind.
And Scott Pilgrim. You haven't seen Scott Pilgrim?
No.
You haven't seen Scott Pilgrim?
It's just never interested me really.
Oh, what?
Oh no, but I'd like
it
took me a while to watch Baby Driver, to be fair, but like that's
the kind of film you kind of. You think about it and then you do forget because you're so busy. Like,
I started watching it at one point. I watched like the first 2 minutes and I just couldn't be asked. Like,
yeah,
I think
it's because it's because it's Edgar Wright and it doesn't feature anyone from his other films.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like,
you're just kind of thrown off about it. You're like, well, how dare he do this film without Simon Pegg in it?
It wasn't even that
Nick
though.
Frost.
I just watched the first 2 minutes.
Like Simon Pegg
I
could have been
just
Scott
already can't
Pilgrim.
be
Do you know what I mean? Why not? And why couldn't Nick Frost be Gideon, Jason Schwartzman's character?
I guess he does want. He just wants to branch out, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, that was a good film. I really enjoyed Scott Pilgrim. Saw that in
I
cinema.
liked Baby Driver, but Baby Driver was really good.
Yeah, it is really good in there. I think Baby Driver feels more like one of his films than Scott Pilgrim did. I think because he used to I can't even seen it. I can't even describe it to you because like it's such a good film.
I will watch it at some point.
But Baby Driver feels like more like his type of films because of the action. Mainly like it kind of mirrors like Hot Fuzz a bit. With all the car chase scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just the way he does that is impeccable, man. It's great.
Do you know what? Another thing that I always find interesting about these films is that they have quite a big following in terms of like it not just being the like people from the UK who follow these films.
Oh yeah,
and who have watched these films. And I always wonder how Americans would react to this because it's so British, but there's so many like.
Well, I believe it's one of Tarantino's favorite films of all time.
Really? Jeez.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure. I've actually got a thing up now, so I'll tell you if it is.
Because I wonder if stuff like this happens in America, really. Like, you could
well,
you'd never have a shut
really
in a
do
pub.
they really have, like, pubs like we do? I don't think we do.
I don't think they have. They have bars where they go and, like, drink.
Quentin Tarantino dubbed the
stuff.
film as one of his top 20 films made since 1992.
Damn.
And it was voted by BBC Radio 1 and BBC Radio 1 Extra listeners as their second favourite film of all time. Frank Darabon's Shawshank Redemption came in first place.
Damn.
What a weird film for British people to really love, The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
I understand this
look
being
how
number 2.
Flat those pints are, dude.
I know, it's a shame. Isn't it?
My God.
There's something about, like, I don't know, I just love the way he frames. I love the way he frames.
Yeah.
His shots are just they're not boring. Like he's like the one thing I like about his films is that like they're not fast paced. It's just that you never have a moment to kind of like get bored.
It's always
there's
moving.
Always something's moving.
If
It's a slow conversation, you know, when Shaun gets broken up with or something like that, and you know, some like towards the end when it's just like all drama.
Yeah.
There's always something going on in the shot or scene that kind of like picks up the pace a bit. I think it's sometimes the music or the humor. Like there's a lot of humor like in this bit here that just kind of you never sit there kind of feeling melancholy or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean like Shaun's.
It's all very entertaining.
Yeah.
Even when they're not really doing anything. Oh, did you know?
And it also like shows how good friends they are as well. It's just such a good scene that one is.
Do you know what I just realised as well? The pints are flat because they're drinking ales. I'm pretty sure they're drinking ales.
Oh yeah,
because they do in the World's End, don't they? They drink ales.
Yeah, I can imagine they're easier to down though. They are like way quicker to down. To be fair, Pete in this is a good character though.
He is a very good character.
I only just noticed it's the same name as the actor.
Is it?
Peter Serafinowicz, yeah. It's just Pete. His name's Peter. I'd never really thought of that until now. Yeah, what the fuck? That's so lazy.
Because I think we all know someone like Pete. I know a couple of people like Pete.
I know people who... No, I don't know. No, not personally.
Like people who've grown up when I'm still like a kid at heart, like.
Oh, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Grown up a bit too quickly. Although then again, these guys are meant to be like 29, 30, so...
So they can... The whole point of life is to enjoy it, not to be fucking boring.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you know, if you're going to do your job, be serious, but have fun in the meantime. Don't be
I enjoyed myself way too much when I was younger. It's like, well, life is there to be enjoyed.
You know, most of your life, you're a fucking adult, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you want to prolong being...
Do you really want to stop... Like, the moment you stop being a kid is the moment your life just dies, basically. Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you want to go, like, your entire life? What if we just stop being, like, you know... Stop watching funny films or just, you know, stopped playing video games, didn't watch movies, just went to work, went to an office, and just kind of sat there all day, come home and watch the news. Do you know what I mean?
It's boring.
There's nothing wrong with watching the news or doing most of those things. It's just the fact that you do them all every single day because you want to be taken seriously. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. It's not a thing for me. But yeah.
Oh, this is another good example of how well he Edgar Wright tells time, or like shows time passing.
It's just a jump cut to
yeah. Even with the jump cut, it doesn't need to be long. It's just bang.
It's all they did was turn a light on.
Exactly.
It's great, isn't it? Right,
and
so
it just goes to show in stuff like American Pie when they struggle to show time properly.
Oh yes, which one do you want to refer to? Is it the second one with the
No, the first one where he runs over to Kevin's house.
Oh yeah.
And it looks like he's been running for about 2 hours because it's just so long and outdrawn.
I think another thing as well is filmmakers like Edgar Wright grew up watching films, loving films, and
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I don't know much about the writers and director of American Pie, but
yeah, true.
I can't imagine they kind of grew up like appreciating films. Same with Tarantino, and same with Scorsese. I'm putting them all together because they're my three favorite directors, like in general, of like the mainstream.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously, there's a few indie directors I like Joe Swanberg and whatever, but this one's different. Anyway, I think Edgar knows like how films should be and how they should you don't need to show certain things happening if it doesn't advance the story.
Yeah.
And I feel like the American Pie writers, bear in mind, they did write it in 6 weeks, so you got to cut.
Yeah, you got to cut.
They did really I don't know if that's actually true.
It's meant to be a stupid film. Really.
Even in that, man, 6 weeks. I don't know if it's their first draft or second draft. I don't know how many drafts they did. It could be their first. They still made a decent film.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's you can't really compare the two, but
I do love this part. To be fair, is this all one shot? I feel like it might be. As in him, even him. No, because they do cut to the counter, don't they?
It's the long tracking shots that are great, man, don't they?
They're great because it is a good way of showing space. I like it.
It's also because it mirrors a scene later in the film when it's obviously the reverse. He's going to the shop again, but obviously the apocalypse or whatever they want to call it has happened, which they never actually reveal how it happened. Like they never ever mentioned how the outbreak started.
No,
it just happened and it went.
Happened.
There's no.
And they call it they call it D-Day on
Z-Day.
Z-Day,
yeah.
At the end of the film, so that's like what? That's so it was just like 24 hours.
It did happen really quick, but then again, if you think about it, right, I think another reason why this film is great is that it tackles the idea of what would happen if a zombie outbreak happened,
and then
it would be dealt with very quickly.
I think it's probably one of the only zombie films where a zombie outbreak is dealt with, and it's dealt with really quickly.
But then on the other side of the spectrum, this is a film called 28 Days Later. You must have seen that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, right. That's probably my second favorite zombie flick ever.
Yeah,
that handles it really well on the other side of the spectrum of like how it would be like if I think it's because it's British and we're used to seeing some of the locations, and they got the scene
especially
with
the scenes in London, like
Cillian Murphy when he reaches Big Ben on the bridge.
Yeah,
and it's completely deserted. We've been there,
exactly.
So I think you think that maybe that is a bit more realistic.
And so the way they filmed it as well was that they made sure there was nobody on the roads and stuff, and it was genuinely all just like it was a great shot because it was all real. There was nobody there.
Yeah,
like it was great.
No, that's another side of the spectrum because I think obviously 20 days later, that's like 27 days longer than this outbreak lasted.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like,
But it's still going on because obviously they're trying to make the 28 months later. That's the thing I find with
this is what I mean. There's never a definitive ending for these zombie films. There's the times when there's probably a little bit of hope in the they live with it, but the world's still gone to shit.
I think it's one thing that's good about this as well is that it I don't know if I can't remember if 28 Days Later does it or any other zombie flicks and stuff, but they acknowledge the fact that zombies are a thing in their universe.
Yeah,
because you don't do that. You don't do that in the Walking Dead. They're called walkers.
Yeah, it's like,
so like, there's no pop culture that exists in any other zombie films.
Yeah,
apart from maybe Warm Bodies, I think acknowledges it. But this, they know zombies exist in real life, literally, and in pop culture in this universe.
Yeah,
because usually they're not aware that they are a thing. Because other horror films, like vampire films, they're always aware that vampires exist, or they know of like a myth or whatever, and then when they meet the vampire or whatever, do you know what I mean? Like every kind of monster or like thing it exists, but zombie films they never really exist in pop culture.
Yeah, so they're just like, oh, what is it?
What is it? Are they undead? Like, how do you not know?
It's a zombie, dude. Like, come on. If it happened to us, I'd be like, dude, like freaking zombies.
Yeah, now we've got a wave of like British zombie films now. There's loads. There's I think I saw one a few years back called Cockneys versus Zombies.
There's
that's one when he kicks the zombie baby. I think just boots the shit out of it.
There's one with
so weird.
Hang on. There's another one. I can't remember what it's called. I think it might be called.
There's also a Shaun of the Dead rip-off as well called Wan of the Dead. Wan of the Dead. Yeah, I don't know if it's exactly the same film, but
yep, there's a zombie movie with Danny Dyer in it called Doghouse.
Doghouse. That's got Noel Clarke in it as well.
Noel Clarke, yeah, Danny Dyer, Stephen Graham. I've seen that. That's pretty good. It's only females can become zombies. Yeah.
It's really weird.
Because I didn't remember any of it. I remember watching it like 2 or 3 times when I was younger for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I just completely forgot about it. I think it was because it was on Netflix for a while.
Yeah, it's a weird film. Very British.
Very strange. I think the only reason I watched it was because it had Danny Dyer in it.
I watched it for Noel Clarke because I used to be a Doctor Who fan.
Oh, right.
Yeah, back in the day.
Okay, you're one of those.
Hey, I'm not part of what they call it, the Whoville or the Whodum.
The Whodum.
What's the
Hoodlum? The Who?
What do they call their fan base? I don't know. I remember it from Tumblr and stuff. What's it called?
I didn't know Doctor Who had a fan base. No, I'm joking.
Whovians or Wovians or whatever. Yeah, Whovians. That's what they call their fan base. Yeah, nerds. Yeah. Yeah.
This is very British.
I can't remember even what we said. So
this is very British as well.
Yeah, the
throwing the toaster. They've got a little basket. Like
he's in Bruges.
Oh yeah, you said this earlier. But yeah, that's Mary from the beginning of the film.
I didn't notice that before.
I don't know. How did I not know?
That is definitely one of the first things they point out when it's like so obvious. Like when you know, once you've seen the film the second time.
Unless I have just unless I've noticed it before and then just forgotten. But yeah, this is what I mean by they've got an entire scene dedicated to them like playing around with vinyls.
Isn't it? This is the Edgar Wright's vinyl collection.
Is it? Fair play. That's pretty funny. But kids like my younger brother and stuff, or my younger brothers, would see this now and be like, oh, they're really old. Why do they have these big discs?
Yeah,
Well, we look at it and we're like, oh, that's really cool.
When were they being born? Like these guys, so they're 29. This is 2004, but it was set in 2003.
Oh damn.
1974.
So yeah, so it'd be like the 70s they'd be born in.
Yeah, because obviously 15 years later now. Yeah.
Yeah, because
they'd be 46 now.
Jesus, that's so crazy. But we still see stuff like this and think, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a vinyl player.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to get one of those little boxes.
Kids like 10 years younger than us would be like, Why are they using vinyl players? They're so old. Why don't they just have the songs on their iPads?
What I find really weird about vinyl is how vinyl's making a comeback. Like, it's getting bigger and bigger. Like,
definitely.
The HMV in Cardiff is stacked.
It's run by...
But, like, Spillers also do the more obscure kind of stuff that you actually want to buy. Not just, like, 80 versions of fucking, you know, some... I don't know, some bullshit indie album or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. So it's only just soundtracks from like Marvel films I'm buying on the HMV. It's weird.
That's a bit strange.
You get some good stuff, but I don't know. But yeah, it's weird because vinyl are existing with like technology we have now and like Spotify and stuff. But how it's like our generation is kind of bringing the numbers back up because we were born just after vinyls kind of fizzled out.
We wouldn't have had our own vinyl players either. Like, we would have been.
We missed it by like probably like 5-10 years. Like,
but our parents,
I think as soon as tapes
would have had vinyl players, so that's why it's so like.
I had all my dad's and my uncle's vinyls for like a good few years.
That's what I mean. Our parents would have had vinyl players, which makes the difference.
Yeah,
our children won't.
But then our parents would have had vinyl players as kids. Stopped having one until like into the last 5 years when they buy like an old one or something like that. Yeah, hence that's what I got. Like, yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It's so
weird. But I think it's because everyone's nostalgic, so it's usually you're nostalgic about like, you know, 10 to 20 years before you were born.
Yeah.
So what was kind of like, you know, if you notice now we're like late 80s, 90s fashion's kind of popular. With like a modern twist to it. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's rolling up their like jeans, everyone's wearing Converse again, everyone's wearing plaid shirts and
oh my god, yeah.
So that's what everyone does, isn't it? They always like, you know, and the same was we talk about it now. You always say, "Oh, when I was a kid, like everything was good." Obviously, it is because you're a kid. But it's because, like, when you're a kid...
It's nostalgia, man.
Yeah, nostalgia goggles, isn't it? So then people take that to the extreme. So, like, vinyl's just, like, a new thing now because everyone's getting nostalgic about something they never experienced. So they're doing it now. It's weird, isn't it?
Do you know what? These movies always bring up the very, very important questions.
Yeah.
First question, what would your weapon for a zombie apocalypse be? If you could choose one weapon.
One weapon?
Yeah.
Like anything I want?
Anything you want. You have one weapon.
Could be a gun or I go for something.
We'll say within means. I reckon
crowbar.
I'd probably go for a baseball bat. I reckon
that's a good
metal baseball bat.
If you can get your hands on one,
it would be good. But you know, I'll settle for another one.
Never use a guitar.
No,
I reckon one blow to the head could probably like crack a guitar.
Yeah,
at you know, between the neck and the base.
I think the shovel's good.
Shovel's good. It's just too.
The cricket bat.
It's too British.
It's so British. It's a cricket bat. You just wouldn't have that in an
cricket bat's actually quite good because you got the flat end.
Yeah, and then you got them.
But I was thinking crowbar because then you can use it to get into places at the same time. So it's two tools in one, my friend. But then again, I can imagine wielding that is a pain in the ass sometimes. Cause,
yeah,
you know,
I feel like you need blunt weapons. You just need blunt weapons. It's easier to be accurate. I mean, you don't have to be accurate with blunt weapons.
What about a hammer? Go like Peter Sutcliffe.
Oh, that'd be too heavy. I couldn't do that.
A hammer, just like.
I thought you meant like a big hammer, not like.
Or
like a sledgehammer. Like a sledgehammer or something.
A sledgehammer, you could, it'd be like Fortnite, mate.
Yeah. Just it takes so long.
Trudging down the battlefield to smash zombies' fucking jaws.
Or you could just have a car. Car would be great. Then again, you need a weapon with it.
Car with barbed wire.
Oh, yeah. Like a shovel at the front or something.
Yeah.
It'd be sick.
Just go around in a fucking, like one of those, like a building fucking things, you know, a digger. I was trying to think of the name for the character from Bob the Builder then.
My god.
What's their name? And I think it is Digger. Or Dig. I can't remember.
Or Doug.
Would
be Doug. I've got another question about zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
What would be your ideal place to like hide out or like, you know, call your home during a zombie apocalypse?
Oh,
the safest place that you can.
Safest place I can think of.
Yeah. I reckon you got to go for a boat. If you're near the ocean,
a boat would be great. But I'm trying to think realistically in terms of what we have access to.
Oh, we got access to boats.
Oh yeah, fuck, we do. Yeah, how we hijack a boat? I mean, we do live by a marina, right? Okay, fair.
Listen. Like, there's no rules really anymore. As soon as the zombie apocalypse happens, we can steal whatever we want to survive. Like,
good point. I was thinking more.
But if
like
we didn't have access to
boats,
to water,
if there wasn't water near us,
because I feel like being on a boat, living out on the water when you've got enough supplies, and then coming back every so often to get supplies would be great. It'd be dangerous
though, because what if you get overrun on the little boardwalk bit,
the pier?
Yeah,
true. But then again, it would be less dangerous than, say, if you were overrun and your home, let's say, was like in the middle of like a zombie infested area. You'd be fucked. You can't move it. With a boat, at least you can move it. And water is somewhere where you know that you'll be safe from zombies.
That's true. That's a good point. But what if they can hang on like barnacles? Just cling on.
And they just cling on.
Then obviously the more they degrade with the salt water, the more they just like, when you're cooking food on a fucking hell, start then. When you're cooking food on a non-stick pan and they just get stuck to the pan.
Yeah.
And you have to
that's exactly what they do.
Like that's their skin just kind of like stuck on like barnacles. Like that's the only way they could do it.
Yeah.
Or if one of them was a stowaway, one of them was smart. Like one of them could think for themselves. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to think where else would be good.
I reckon we'd be safe. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we'd be safe. Like,
but your wardrobe is in front of the door. Fine.
Yeah,
we've run out of food very quickly.
We'd run out of food so quickly.
Well, hypothetically, if we had enough food, because I don't think a zombie apocalypse would last that long. Could it give or take a week?
I think this is probably the most realistic.
100%. That's why it's my favorite
portrayal of the zombie apocalypse.
We were saying this, because
it would be a problem. It would be
it'd be contained very quickly, and even if it managed to get,
I'm sure
outbreak.
The government has the world's governments have some kind of contingency plan for something like this happening. Like,
yeah. I bet the guy who invented zombies was like, "Oh fuck! Look how I've started now."
Yeah, look what I've.
They've wasted billions to stop a zombie outbreak. I mean, it'd be weird. Like, I think
it might not even just be specifically for a zombie outbreak, but for something that's lethal and contagious. It would literally just be for that.
What do you reckon? Like, if you had to create within this film now, if you had to pick the cause of this outbreak, what do you reckon it would be? Because they don't say what it is, but what do you think the closest thing is? Because it's got to be something. I
reckon it would. I mean, it just sounds like it's a standard infection, doesn't it? Really, like,
yeah,
it's an infection that just so happens to turn people into, like, Walking Dead. I don't know.
It's weird though.
Like rabid.
Has it been? I'm not sure. Has it been proven that this could happen if humans got infected by a certain?
I think there's
disease or
something along the lines of, if like.
Because I'm sure who have got it protected.
I'm sure there's some form of rabies, or there's some strain of rabies. Apparently there is.
Well, there's bar salt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you seen that? There's a guy in California who was on bar salt and literally ate a guy's face.
Oh yeah. But there's
that.
There's also The Last of Us explanation, which I really liked.
I don't remember that one now.
Was they use what's the name of there's a fungus that like grows. There's a real fungus that grows on like ants, and it ends up like it like eats their brain and stuff, so it turns them crazy until eventually it like blossoms out of their head, and then releases spores which then infect other nearby ants, and that's what it does. And that's what
I don't remember that at all.
And that's what the Last of Us virus is based on, because there's like fungus that grows and it releases spores, and then that's why they always have to get the masks and everything. Yeah, which I think is pretty cool.
Wow, it's been so long I don't remember that at all. I think
what's his name? I think it's like called cordyceps or something.
I think I don't think it says anywhere, but I think it's.
Is it cordyceps?
There's a cultural reference apparently to 28 Days Later. So during the ending scene when Shaun and Liz are watching television, a news report states that the idea of a raging infected monkey was And then this is a reference to 28 Days Later, in which the rage virus was started by monkeys in a university.
Oh,
Yeah, in the opening, yeah.
Oh, there you go, cordyceps.
Cordyceps, okay. That's so weird.
It's really strange, but it's fascinating to look at, just because it's like its only known form comes, or like all of its known forms only affect like insects.
Yeah.
But if it were to be able to infect humans, it would probably end up being something like what it is in The Last of Us. It's crazy.
I mean, if rats can start a plague, dude, I think a couple of ants can start a fucking outbreak.
Like, you know,
it's weird, isn't it?
There's like videos.
Are you one of those people who kind of wants it to happen to see how it'd be like?
It's scary because I feel like it's something that they really don't address much in this film is how everyone who's with him would surely be worrying about other people as well.
Yeah.
It only seems to be the people that Shaun cares about who end up being with him.
Well, he kind of just hijacks it all.
Yeah. But, like, you know, he goes to pick up his parents. What about the other characters' parents? Where are they?
Maybe they don't live in maybe they don't live in London. But
even so, I think Liz addresses it at some point and says, "Oh, you know, her parents are like in Barbados or something." I can't remember. But you can imagine, like, you know, Dave and Diane. Like, where are their parents?
I can't imagine.
Parents?
I can't imagine David as a character actually caring about his family.
But, like, you know, do they not have other friends? Like, you know, it's crazy. Like,
no. Some people just don't have that many friends.
Because if it was me, like, obviously I'd be worried about the immediate people. But, you know, I'd be calling my mum and dad all the time. I'd be calling people who I know in Swansea, and I'd be worrying about too many people at once. Yeah. Like,
then again, we have access to social media, so everyone would be like, "Is everyone okay? Who's alive, guys?"
Yeah, literally, you'd be messaging people.
That is what's really weird, because it probably I saw it was an ad for some British zombie TV series. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, it's gonna bug me.
I think I know which one you're talking about, because my younger brothers watch a lot of really
something to do with a boat. They're on a boat on that one, because they address the entire thing about the boat being the safest place. And
yeah,
it's really British. I don't know what it's called. I always see it popping up on my Facebook.
But see, I know my younger brothers, because like we see these films now, and these were like fresh when they came out. Like, you know, it was a new. I mean, you know, zombies isn't really a new concept, but it wasn't worn out by this point. It's got to a point now where I'm seeing my brothers watch, like, you know, these really shitty zombie TV shows or like shitty zombie movies. And they're just nowhere near as good as like original stuff like Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
they'll be like there's just loads and loads and loads of zombie TV shows that are rubbish. There's loads of bad zombie films that have come out in the last couple of years.
Yeah, there's loads of direct-to-DVD ones as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is what I mean. That's all, like, you know, they're Netflix originals and stuff like that, and they're just not very good. I think the only one that's really been
it's oversaturated, that genre.
Yeah, I was way too oversaturated.
Because when this came out, there wasn't that many. There wasn't that many zombie films out.
I think The Walking Dead was probably the last thing for me that was just like, oh yeah, well, you know, the zombie genre is a bit
zombie is a bit of a Walking Dead.
Yeah. I think when Walking Dead got to, like, you know, the third season, I was like, this is just
first two seasons of that show were impeccable.
Oh, they were very good.
And that's definitely a Darabont kind of thing, because
was
once they fired him, it just kind of went too.
As soon as what's his name? Shane. The character he's played by
John Bernthal.
John Bernthal, that's the one.
Yeah.
As soon as he died, the rest of the show was just kind of like,
no, because there's only one thing about season 2 that bugs the hell out of me, and that's the whole the whole main plot of the reason they stay on the farm is to look for Sophia, and then she turns into a zombie. That's fine, but didn't have to be Sophia. Could be some random other kid. Because she was still alive, and she like kind of has an integral part to later in the seasons.
Yeah,
and it's the same with Andrea as well. Like, it was they're the two characters that bugged me that they killed off soon, because they nailed Glenn's. They actually nailed someone getting murdered the way they do in the comic book. I'm not saying it had to be at the comic books, but when things are, I think when certain deaths like that, they could not get away with not killing Glenn, because that was such a massive deal. And no, man, you're right. It did lose after that. Like, it's so much that TV show, by the way, is called Zomboat. Zombo, yeah. It's
God.
it's a Brummy TV show.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
See, I don't know how I'd do in a zombie apocalypse. I kind of want to know. I really want to know, but I also don't. I really don't, just in case I'm really bad.
Yeah. Oh, and does she have a crowbar? Oh, no, it's just a hockey stick. That's a good one. Hockey stick. You can use you can use them to.
Yeah. Although I don't think it has enough force behind it. It's not heavy enough.
I'm quite. I don't know. I think I'm quite.
I can imagine myself being one of the first unlucky few that are just like
ill.
You know,
if I was going to die in a zombie apocalypse, I would want to have been the first to get infected.
I think it would be sod's law, just because I never get ill normally, and it would just happen to be the first thing that I get ill from.
Is your death.
And it ends up being one of the first people turned into a zombie.
You wake up, try to kill me, I smash your head in with a guitar. I'm like, oh God, I killed Josh. What am I going to do? Anton comes out of his bedroom. He's a zombie too.
What's going on?
Oh my God.
Then? Oh, no.
Bug spray Anton in the face. He's down. And then I just kind of grab my coat and just fuck off. No, I'm joking. I wouldn't do that. I get some supplies. There's nothing really in here we could use. Maybe Anton's base.
Take a couple of your DVDs with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh fuck. I need to get one of those army rucksacks to fit all those in. I need my DVDs, guys. That's what's gonna be my downfall. I won't be able to leave any of my stuff behind. No, I'm joking. I need my phone charger. That's all you need is your phone charger and your phone.
I bring
your
my
wallet,
Switch.
your keys. You bring your a Switch.
Well, I need something to do, don't I?
I mean, you could use as a boomerang at some point, I guess.
Whoa, no, I need some entertainment, dude.
Right, fair enough.
See, we live in this world now. Where
entertainment is created by the drama of your life.
But see, this
there's a zombie outbreak.
But see, this is my thing, as I feel like a post-apocalyptic lifestyle is like glorified by these films with these people who look like badasses and they love going around killing zombies. Realistically, you'd be sick of it after 2 months. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near zombies. I wouldn't be enjoying.
You know how bloody how much people weigh? If a zombie lunged at you, you'd be fucking taken down. You'd have 0.1 seconds for it to stop you from biting your neck.
Exactly.
A lot of people would die very quickly. But then again, that's a counter argument against what I think would actually happen. It would last at least a week. I think that would be my.
Yeah, I
Go
guess.
to a week to a month, maybe. It's still short time, but still long enough to be disastrous, but not too bad. Where
see.
It's not an ongoing threat.
I can imagine it would be something that would be snuffed out very quickly. I have this vision in my head where I just think it would be say, one person got infected with it, and there would be an incident where they end up infecting someone else, but that ends up being it.
Yeah,
there'll be an incident where this person like the whole thing with the bath salts,
and also people would, doctors and scientists and anyone would be aware of kind of what the infection is caused by. Not because you can't go around thinking that most diseases haven't been cured and that are being hidden from people, I guess.
Yeah.
So if say that there was a kind of virus that existed that they've tested out to try and find a cure from, they know what to expect. And if it is the same as you get bitten, you get all you go pale, and then you die and you reanimate. And then you're a zombie, and then you shoot them in the head, or knock their head off, or whatever. Even if you, also according to Walking Dead as well, if you slice their head off, they don't die. They still have a head. Because Herschel was like that in the season 4.
Yeah, but see, I don't take. When I think about zombies, the first thing I do is I say, well, fuck the Walking Dead, because as far as I'm concerned, they're too pretentious to call them zombies anyway. So we'll leave them out. I think
if a nice blow to the head would, or a nice.
It just would do it, wouldn't it?
It would do
in
the
any
job
in
really
any
well,
realistic, like we said with the Last of Us zombies, any realistic take on zombies would be fairly easy to deal with.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, granted, you know what you're doing, and it's kind of you're switched on, and you don't get. Ambushed.
You gotta have common sense, though.
Yeah,
you gotta have common sense.
Oh, there'd be a lot of people I know who'd be dead.
It's a very tough one because it's it could happen. It could not happen. Do you believe it could happen, though?
With me.
Because, I
say, like I said, I reckon I'd be one of the first. I'd be one of the unlucky few for the first. But if that didn't happen to me, I reckon I would last a lot longer than a lot of people I know.
Yeah.
just purely because I've been watching zombie films for a very, very long time, and it's one of those things that I find so interesting. And obviously, you don't really know how you'd react in certain situations. You can say until you're blue in the face, "Oh, I do this and I do that," but realistically, all of that goes out of the window once it actually starts happening, because we don't really know what a proper zombie apocalypse would be like.
You don't know how the speed of people would run. They could be a World War Z kind of speed, which that'd be so terrifying.
This is a good question. Out of all of the zombie films, or any kind of zombie media, which zombies would you least like to have? Which ones do you think have it the worst?
World War Z. And then I Am Legend, if that counts as a zombie.
I don't know if I'd count I Am Legend though. As a zombie film. No.
I feel like it's kind of like a zombie film that's not trying to be a zombie film.
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's why
I don't think they call them zombies in the film though. They're more like vampires, aren't they?
They're like a weird mix.
Yeah.
I mean, let's check out some zombie films, because there's some anyone that sprints is games as well.
I think 28 Days.
Oh, Zombieland is quite haunting, the way the zombies are.
Zombieland, yeah, Zombieland's pretty bad. I'd say either Zombieland or 28 Days Later.
Yeah, 28 Days Later, yeah, they're
28 Days Later are terrifying. That would be the worst.
I think
especially because you can do contact with blood, infects you.
Yeah, because that's how Brendan Gleeson dies. Yeah, he takes a bloodshot to the eye. Yeah, I think hands down. In terms of what I believe, because there's no proof yet. What I believe, this film completely nails it in terms of how people would react. Apart from sometimes when they're so fucking close to getting grabbed, and that one scene when they're outside the Winchester. And
Shaun jumps down and he runs through a entire crowd.
There's that, but it's also they're just staring at them while Nick Frost's phone's going off.
I think that's just to get the gag in, though, isn't it? Really,
they're like,
where they're just standing there watching, and it's a classic movie cliche, isn't it? That where they turn around and everyone's looking at them. A lot of fences get broken in these films.
Yeah,
Rip the fences. A lot of fences were harmed in the making of these movies. This might be a good weapon. Although then again, it would be single use.
It'd be
There's no way he's pinning him in that tree though.
No, not a fucking chance.
I'm not even sure he'd get it all the way through him.
I don't know. With a bit of strength, I reckon you could.
Because
he's dead. He's dead though. So he's not got no blood circling through his body, is
right. He? Yeah, absolutely.
So
right.
he's basically
maybe he's a bit more fragile.
Yeah, that's what I find really weird. Like, you're dead. A dead person can't fucking sprint.
Yeah,
they wouldn't know how. They wouldn't know how.
Again, a dead person shouldn't be alive either. So it's
exactly. But also, I reckon they'd be even slower than we think. I reckon they could just be like, obviously, through time they could develop, kind of like how Warm Bodies does in a way. I think.
Yeah.
But
see, I think a zombie apocalypse like this would
be drunk. Like when you're drunk and you have you just can't walk at all.
Yeah.
You're just like stumbling about. You're ready to get that like drunk, but when you do, you're just stumbling about and you do some things and you're like, whoa.
Oh, see, for me, I reckon this zombie apocalypse would be dealt with very quickly, and I think they know that. I think the writers know that this kind of zombie apocalypse is that Edgar Wright's like, well, yeah, it wouldn't last very long.
No, exactly.
It just wouldn't, because they're not quick enough. Any kind of smart.
Also, I think he's his only film before until they made this where, it's the only film when they made it that actually has a resolved ending, like to the apocalypse, instead of everyone just dying or one person getting away and you're wondering what the hell's going to happen.
Oh no, that's what I said earlier. Yeah, I don't think there's many zombie films where. But this is what I'm saying though, is that it's the only one that has a real where the government or the world actually deals with it and the apocalypse ends. I've never seen another one like that.
There's another zombie film coming out this year. The year this came out was Dawn of the Dead. Did you watch that one? The remake with I think Zack Snyder.
I never watched the remake.
James Gunn wrote that. James Gunn wrote it.
Really?
Yeah, and Zack Snyder directed it, I believe. Yeah, Ty Burrell from Modern Family's in it.
I'm quite proud of myself because I've watched the original Day of the Dead. I was quite proud of myself for watching that at one point, but
No, I like Dawn of the Dead. It's pretty good, but that kind of ends really weirdly. Like, really, you should watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they came out the same year, which is quite funny because obviously Shaun of the Dead's a play on the classic George Romero zombie films.
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, or whatever they called it. There's actually one that he did. I think it might have been Land of the Dead, and Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg had a cameo.
Really?
Yeah, they played these kind of like zombies chained up.
Oh,
They
right.
that was like a kind of like a carnival game of sorts.
Mm.
And I think they're in another one where Simon Pegg plays like a zombie in a phone booth.
Fair play.
Yeah, it's weird, man. But yeah, this film's like, the reception for this film is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, there's not many rotten reviews, are there, on
Yeah, actually saying that, yeah. Let's bring back this recurring segment, rotten reviews. Yeah, if you haven't heard any episodes before, it's basically where we go on Rotten Tomatoes and we read out the rotten reviews and we engage in those reviews and
we take the piss out.
We take the piss out of them, or we either agree or get visibly angry.
Yeah.
So let's start this first one. The movie bogs down and the humour seems to dry up, though the blood continues to well, spurt and spew.
I mean, the humour's arguably better at the end of the film.
Exactly,
because
but
because it's a callback to the beginning of the film.
It's true, but do you think they mean, and I don't think they're seeing the logic behind it, as obviously as we get further into like end of Act 2, Act 3, mainly like from this bit on, when the the bit where the zombies are staring at them, like we said,
yeah,
that's when it starts to go a bit serious until the Queen track comes on, and then once they're all in that sense of that real danger, and then obviously like Shaun's mum becomes a zombie and all that, the humour does dry up, and the blood does continue to well, spurt and spew, because Nick Frost gets bitten and David gets literally ripped apart. It is the bloodiest sequence of the film.
Yeah.
But I think they're either just saying they're still jokes, but they're not as obvious as they were.
Like when Diane's throwing the darts and one of them hits Shaun.
Yeah,
like it's
that's
very stupid.
That's still the bit with the Queen. It's from
the Queen's still playing at that
it's
point,
from the point he murders his mum. I would say that's when the humour does go down until they're in the cellar, and then it just goes back to normal then, and then it goes to that weird the spaced kind of like angles, the framing with the shots, like the kind of angled stuff that is notable from Spaced. It always takes me out as well. It's such a weird bit. But yeah, so let's carry on with another one. Silly drop-dead sight gags that don't seem to work as well as intended, but nevertheless often some humour.
So they just admitted it was funny.
Yeah.
So,
but silly drop-dead sight gags that don't seem to work as well as intended.
I mean,
that's just your opinion, man. But
I don't think I think that's probably one of the best aspects of this film. Is I don't think any of the gags...
review is a bit too personal in terms of what he like. I know reviews should be kind of a personal level, but sometimes you got to appreciate what's good about it, and that just seems like he didn't get the gags, so therefore it's crap.
I bet you he's American.
I don't know, maybe.
I can imagine.
I'm not going to judge based. That was actually from 2005.
For me, I think the majority of the bad reviews will be people who don't understand British humour, and that's not a bad thing. It just, I understand it. I completely understand why people wouldn't like it if they didn't understand the humour. But it's because it's very niche. A lot of this stuff, you wouldn't.
I think it does fall in the line of a cult classic, and I think it should be put up for. I don't know if it has. The film thing that Martin Scorsese does, where he like saves, those films. So look, yeah. So it's the National Film Registry, by the United States Library of Congress, It's the films get preserved there.
All right.
So like, I'm surprised that like I reckon this will eventually be put in there. It's gotta be. But yeah, so I put it in the cult classic. If you were to kind of explain this, it is definitely a cult classic by far.
Oh, definitely.
Purely because cult classics are usually loved by people who certain demographics, or there's certain humor that only a certain like.
Although then again,
people get.
Then again, I don't.
Because obviously,
I don't know if you can, if an entire country can be put in that category, though. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, there's a lot of. It's probably one of the most famous British films now at this point. It's just that because it's more of a comedy than most other like Paddington is probably the biggest British film of all time now.
Yeah,
because they both got, I believe, they both got 100% Rotten Tomatoes, and it's just so well received. I've never seen either of them. I don't know why, but apparently, yeah, they're really good. But I don't know. A more acclaimed American directors seem to love this film because I think they see more of the physicalness of like how it was created, the production side of it, rather than the story. So the
way it's directed,
the story is great.
Amazing.
It's so funny, and like, I need to stop saying like the story.
Pool knockout competition. It kind of just small things like that.
Yeah,
there's a poster on the wall that says pool knockout competition. Like,
poorly drawn as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's more. There's definitely more than the amount of balls that you need in that little.
Also,
triangle.
I just love the framing of that shot because of the way they're all just sitting on this booth, like bored as fuck, sitting in a pub until it closes.
Loads of alcohol.
This entire film is filled with so many metaphors. It's unbelievable. Like,
but I love how the chairs are stacked up like they would be in a pub at this point.
Yeah,
but they're stacked up against the doors because.
It's also a literal lock-in, pub lock-in.
Yeah.
They're drinking as well.
Do you know what else I've noticed as well? Is I think in a lot of films, a lot of zombie films, exaggerate a person's ability to be able to just break glass with their hands. Yeah. It's kind of, I feel like I mean, obviously there's a lot of glass that would be able to be, but it's like say if
I punched a hole through glass, I'd probably slice a lot of my hand. You'd be fucked. You could go through a main artery.
It wouldn't just shatter and fall forwards.
Unless you do the t-shirt thing could work, I guess.
But like it's like these zombies, like these people, they're clearly not going to be as strong as they were when they were human. I think there are a couple of films where for some reason the zombies are stronger than normal humans, and it doesn't make any sense.
World War Z?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes no sense whatsoever.
But like, if you're just wildly swatting at a window with the palms of your hands, like zombies do.
Yeah, just give them a few sponges and some hot water and some soap. They can clean the windows for you,
it wouldn't break the windows. And even if it did, I think... what was the film? Was it 21 Jump Street? Where he kicks through the car window, through the front windscreen?
Pineapple
Express. Yeah. There we go. And it goes through and it's just stuck. That's what glass is like. That's what real glass is like.
Yeah, you just get your foot stuck and you can't
just wildly swat a glass pane, a pane of glass, and it just all shatters in front of you. That's what happens in a lot of these zombie films.
No, I know.
Like, can you imagine trying to break that glass there?
Oh, I don't mind. Think about it, right?
With your hands and just doing that.
You've got dozens and dozens of zombies. All pressed up against the glass. The pressure of all this weight maybe would probably pierce it. That's how it shatters, because it's kind of like there's so much weight.
It's pressure, yeah.
The pressure's pushing it outwards. One single person, like if you went up to the door there and just tried to punch it
through someone at
the
window.
If you did it with pure confidence and all your strength, you probably could shatter it, but you would probably fall forward, land on the ground, probably cut.
There has to be a significant amount of force. Like, you'd have to have momentum go. Like, it'd be like pushing someone. If I pushed you into that glass, you probably would be pushed through.
Yeah. People walk through glass.
The momentum would say.
My mum walked through a glass door apparently, when she was younger.
I've walked into a glass door before.
and you didn't shatter it.
No.
Maybe you don't.
I just went like that.
Josh, maybe it's just you. You don't possess the glass shattering ability that most human beings have.
But you see videos like that all the time where people walk into glass.
One of the greatest instances of breaking glass in a film ever, and it beats Panic Express for me, is the Nice Guys. Have you seen that? Ryan Gosling, Russell Crowe.
I don't remember any of them.
And there's a scene at the start where he's investigating this guy's house. He fucking punches the window, and he just cuts his entire wrist. And then next shot, he's just in the fucking ambulance going to hospital. It's great. It's so good, man.
But that's what it would really be. I mean, then again, this is quite.
Bear in mind, I think he did punch it like bare hand with no.
Yeah. Do you know what's scary though? Actually, now that I say this, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this is an old film though.
Yeah.
By this point, I think the windows in my house at home, because my house is quite, as in like my house in
They
London.
had double glazing, Josh. Sorry, trying to get on with.
Yeah, this is what.
They had double glazing back then. I'm pretty sure this is the time where people would go around asking if you wanted double glazing windows.
But with like old pubs like this, because it's very clearly an old building, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
In old buildings, like my house in London, our windows were really, really thin. Like the wind would rattle the windows.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
Oh,
get
bear
that
in
now.
mind, yeah. I think when I was younger, our kitchen window got smashed in, and then we had like a gate installed over it.
New stuff would have double glazed windows, obviously. Like
I reckon if you kicked a football out of that door, would it shatter?
No.
If you kicked a window if you kicked a ball out a window when we were kids, would it shatter?
Yes, it would, because actually my brothers have broken the front the front room windows by kicking a football.
Okay, this is a one giant conspiracy theory that we're creating here. Is it possible for these zombies to smash through the glass?
Because
we've even gone back to our childhood.
They're old, yeah, but they're old buildings, so I get it. Like the Winchester, this film is clearly an old pub, isn't it? Look,
this is 15 years ago. This film came out.
Yeah, but it's still. But this is like a classic kind of pub now. This isn't a bar or something,
Yeah, it's traditional pub. Yeah, I get.
Oh, the blood splatter out of his head there.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
But like, yeah, this pub would have been an old building. I'm sure that where Shaun and Ed live would be, those aren't new houses.
No, it's true. I think we solved the case. I think we got okay, they probably could.
But the problem is that nowadays when zombie films are made, and most houses or most places will have double glazed windows, zombies are still just breaking through those windows by wildly swatting at them with their hands.
Yeah, just
and
slapping.
That's my issue, is that modern zombie films don't take into account that windows aren't made like that anymore.
Because they fucking suck.
Exactly. See, I'd continue with the cricket bat at this point. I don't know why he's bothering with the gun. Just
testing the water in it.
Yeah, I guess.
They got quite a few rounds, but obviously they get burnt.
They get way too overrun.
They get wasted on the bar when he sets their light in it.
Yeah. His mum's well selfish as well.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she hides it until the very last minute that she's been bitten.
Yeah, but she's been kind of like dopey the entire film, so...
She has, to be fair, yeah.
How old is she supposed to be then? Because if Shaun's 29, that makes him 6 years older than us, right? So...
She might be in her 50s, 60s.
I don't know. I think it's because maybe the time this came out, like, she kind of looks at what my grandmother looked like when this film came out, like, the hair and everything's it's so similar.
Yeah.
She just reminds me of my grandmother rather than... my own mum. Do you mean? It's a generational thing,
isn't it? It's
innit?
scary that these guys are only 6 years older than us.
At this point, yeah. That is quite shocking. Keep it simple. M45, quarter to 12.
See, I wouldn't even be bothering I wouldn't be bothering with the gun at this point, because it's more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can't have people stood by the windows hacking away, because the person because you might hit the person with the gun.
His mum isn't infected. She's just fucking too stoned. She's like, I'm waiting, Shaun. I'm waiting.
If a zombie apocalypse started tomorrow morning, how would you deal with it?
Tomorrow morning? What time?
I mean, I wouldn't be awake by then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What time?
So, yeah.
6?
So how would you deal with it in the morning?
How would you
I wouldn't.
know what
I'd
time?
still be asleep. Like,
How do you think it would work though? Do you think we get like people slapping on our front door maybe, or?
I don't know. You know. I reckon we might. I reckon if we were to wake up tomorrow morning, something had happened overnight.
We could look at the balcony and be like, "Yo, what the hell is going on?" It's just like,
yeah. I think we'd be
car
quite. I think it would be
crashes
quite good to be up here first of all, or like in the first instance, just because we have a good scope.
watch
of
now,
what,
Sod's Law. Our zombies are fucking war
super
crawlers.
zombies. Yeah.
They can fucking they can Spider-Man basically. They're not infected. Everyone's just Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But for some reason they want to eat your brains. It's weird. Yeah. I don't know.
But we'd have a good vantage
I would-
point from up here.
I mean, if we had a
can
gun,
see a lot.
we can open our windows and just pew pew pew. Well, that also you're going about, like, not to be fucking flexing, but we do live in a gated area.
We do, yeah, you're right. But that doesn't mean that there won't be zombies in here. As in, like, in this gated area.
Well, hypothetically, say no one in here is infected, and it came from a bite, and that bite transferred to another person, then into another person, then to another person, which is also a way it could happen. That's still a viral infection, but it's more physical. So you have to get bitten. It could be airborne, just like Walking Dead, which I think that bullshit. That's bullshit for me. But yeah, if it was say like that kind of thing, and it was basically the only reason we would get attacked is if someone being an idiot was like, I need to go to Tesco get some food, and then they open the gate, thus letting everyone in. Just like that TV show that came out a few years back called Dead Set, about Big Brother house, and it's like zombie apocalypse, and basically obviously they got it, they're in a gated area, and then they fucking let them in. It's the last episode.
Yeah.
Fucking pins one guy down on the law, he bites his head off, the other guy gets trapped between two doors and he gets eaten alive. Like you're just watching him getting eaten alive, and he's just talking. It's weird. Hypothetically, if that happened and the zombies could get, and then they'd have to get through the building themselves then.
But see, this is also...
Then they'd have to climb the stairs.
However, there may also be the instance when someone here, or someone in this gated area, has been out the night before, has been bitten, and is therefore infected because they've come back in here normally and then gone to sleep and then woken up or something.
I think that depends on the person as well then, because if
I
that person bites someone else...
If we're being realistic, there probably might be a total of about 10 or 15 people in this entire area here who would be like that.
Because when you're saying it right, we're saying it right now. So if we saw a person down the hallway and they were acting very suspicious in like a zombie-like fashion, right?
I wouldn't leave the fucking flat.
Your head would... Your morality would go to, oh, are they drunk? You would. You'd be like, oh, are you okay? You're drunk. And then
true.
And also you wouldn't think about killing someone. So you probably either get bitten or you'd have to snap really quickly and be like, holy shit, you're a zombie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your ass is getting eaten, do you know what I mean? And not
your ass is getting eaten. Are you sure, Charlie?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Those would be the scariest type of zombies, the ones that want to eat your ass instead of your brains.
Wow. I can't get back from that, can I? Yeah, when your ass is getting eaten by a zombie.
Well, I don't leave the flat anyway, so I wouldn't get bitten. I'm going to get bitten.
But if you saw someone in public and they were acting a bit suspicious like that, and
I would go nowhere near them.
Yeah, but the thing is, you wouldn't think about. You wouldn't think zombie. You think, are they okay? Are they taking drugs? Are they on bath
still wouldn't go
salts?
anywhere near them.
What have they taken? You find out. The only way you know there's a zombie is that person literally, some poor soul had to be a victim for that person to snap. Everyone's like, holy shit, that person got eaten alive.
Do you know what though? It would still be they'd still be acting weird anyway, and I don't really say if like.
But you wouldn't go to and kill it.
No, you wouldn't go and kill it, but until they tried to come for me, and then you'd think there's something wrong, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But like, I think if for me, I think my immediate reaction would be, typically, I've wasted loads of money on my coach to London now. If this was tomorrow morning, I'd be like, that's such a waste of money. I spent nearly 40 quid on a coach.
Oh God.
and now I'm not going to be able to get it because there's been a zombie outbreak.
Or you're on the coach when it happens.
Oh, I would be fucked. I'd be fucked, dude.
Yeah, you'd be texting me saying, I love you. And I'd be like, haha, lol. Good riddance, bitch. I'm joking. That'd be quite funny.
No, but if it happened like when I woke up tomorrow morning, I'd probably just be sitting. I'd be really boring about it. I'd probably sit on the balcony listening to the news. I think it'd be the first time I'd listen to the news.
Have a cuppa.
Ages.
Have a cuppa on the
Cup
balcony.
of tea, yeah.
Just watch the world burn, is it?
Yeah. Wait, but I think I'd be too.
You're the Joker, are you?
I'd be too afraid to leave the flat. So it would be one of those things where I'd have the TV on and I'd be listening to the news to see if there was anything like, any updates or anything. And I'd sit there until I absolutely had to leave.
Oh, we could just get ready. We could get everything ready. We can make weapons.
But like at that point, I'd be like, well, there's no point in me going to work or doing anything.
Oh, no.
Because...
Watching people would be like, oh, you turn up today. It's like, Gary...
Am I fucked?
Gary, what the fuck? He's like, I'm on my way now. Then you just hear him like getting munched on. He's like, oh, no. And you're like, he told you, Gary, you went to work. And now you're dead.
Can you imagine getting a text from your boss on the morning of a zombie apocalypse being like, oh, why aren't you in work?
For starters, it's not 5 p.m. yet, and I shouldn't be in. But
am I on the rota? Really? That's funny. I don't think I was on the rota. I'd make sure I knew as much as I could before I left the flat.
Yeah,
and there'd have to be there'd have to be a good reason for me to leave the flat as well.
Could you give a strategy guide? Do you reckon to people?
Well, on the phone. Like, could you imagine? Like,
what's your? I don't know. What's your ideal strategy guide if a zombie apocalypse was to actually happen?
Dude.
We've had this conversation's gone on long, but you haven't.
In fact, you know what I know exactly.
If you had to take action, how would you do it? And
see, I know exactly what I'd do from here because I think
apart from sit here and just get people boring. And
no, but I know exactly what I'd do here in terms of like I'd stay in for as long as possible, trying to find out what's happening.
The good thing is you wouldn't need to board up any windows because we're too high up.
Exactly.
So you could
that's what I mean. We've got a really good vantage point. We can see what's happening around us.
But obviously, if we get the light on, it'll attract them.
Yeah, true. So they wouldn't be able to get up anyway, would they?
Well, I mean,
I think the first order of business.
The only way they could get up here is if they manage to get through the gate, then smash through the front door, walk up the stairs because they're not going to get the lift, are they?
No.
They walk up the stairs, or they could get a lift.
If the zombies worked out how to use the lifts, we'd be fucked.
Yeah, exactly. Thing is, like, and also, how do you know we're not living in a zombie apocalypse right now?
Yeah,
Aren't
true.
we all zombies? I mean,
well,
our smartphones, walking around, not talking to anyone. Everyone's kind of stupid these days.
Listen,
a lot of people lack common sense. Everyone's really, really slow as well.
Oh, they
would
be the people without common sense would be
the zombies.
100% be the first people.
And that's
to die.
one of the greatest things about this film as well, which I'm going to bring back so we can talk about Dawn of the Dead because we've been rambling about our ideal.
It's good. It's good. It's good conversation.
It's good to know. Yeah.
It's always films like this that like make you wonder, especially for us, because Shaun of the Dead
is
at the
closest
moment
to home in terms of
it hits closest.
More relevant,
especially for me because this is meant to be based in North London.
Yes,
this is my area. Like this is everything I see here is like this is what my life was like when I was.
But
younger.
what I find really funny is at the start of this film, literally, the kind of opening, like the title sequence, is when there's people
acting like zombies,
in the society, waiting in lines. The trolley guy, which I think I mentioned this earlier on.
I think the main difference is,
but now it's people on their phones, people with earphones in.
I think the main difference is though that the normal people, the metaphorical zombies aren't trying to kill you. I think that's the main difference probably. I'd happily accept that people are zombies nowadays, but if that's like,
it's because we're living in a simulation. That's why.
Yeah, I can't believe they go for a smoke.
What else are you gonna do? When you're gonna die?
Yeah, true. But then again, they're in the cellar. Like, is there not like loads of alcohol? I'd get pissed. Well, I'd just get pissed.
You could, but how are you going to get it out? Like, you've seen the way kegs are designed in Britain?
True, yeah.
I mean, there's only one way they could do it. So, like,
depends on
there's a way you could do it. The tube in for when you release the pressure, and let some beer out. You could take all that, but that would be probably gassy as hell. So you wouldn't be able to drink too much of that. So there's that.
But also, it's also like
you could get drunk. You keep
the spirits in the cellar as well.
You could just be like, "Oh, back now, mate. I'm just gonna get a really long straw so we can smash some of the cask ales while we're down here." because they are
You
cask ale drinkers.
you could definitely do the ales. That'd be great.
Yeah, you could just tip it. One of you could hold the keg upside down. I don't know how you'd be strong enough to hold that for long enough. Just tip it straight in their mouth. Yeah, you could do that. No, I don't think they're really thinking about like, I wonder if we could, smash the barrels and that scene.
I'd be thinking of that. This would be my reaction in this situation. I'd be like, well, we're down here now, so, and if we go up the lift, then we're just gonna die.
Yeah, they take their chances. It's really weird, but then they got the weapons, and then yeah. I think
it really bothers me that they break through the wood as well. That's even less believable. Actually, I don't know, because they literally have to punch it to get through it.
Yeah, but think about it, right? There's at least 50 of them all on top of each other. It's just they're just piling weight.
Yeah, but they do that. What they just did there, they more like bundle through. They wouldn't just
good point,
break it and then keep fiddling around.
Oh, I didn't know he said gay then.
Oh, he goes gay.
Did he say gay?
Yeah.
I thought he said something else, like I thought he said A. I don't know. Yeah, Chris Martin in the back of that bit.
What an absolute legend!
He's a fucking zombie.
What an absolute legend Ed is at the end of this film.
What is he wearing those jeans for? Fucking weirdo. This is what I mean. Look at these angles now. So.
Oh yeah, I know the end of the film with the weird.
The weird zooms, and it just reminds me of some of the action from Spaced, like how they would do it in like when they're in the flat, and like how they make it like it's just great, man. It's like that POV shot of the rifle when they was in the rifle in the pub, and it's kind of like the episode of Spaced, and that's actually quite true because the film itself was it was inspired by the episode where Simon Pegg's character Tim, I think it's Tim. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's Tim, and he's taking drugs, and then he thinks he's in Resident Evil 2. So then they got the POV shot of him shooting.
Oh right,
you've seen Spaced, right?
No, I haven't. We had this conversation the other day. You were like, "Have you seen Spaced?"
Oh, we didn't watch it. Oh yeah, we were gonna watch it, didn't we? Yeah, no. Well, we need to watch Spaced because.
Do you know what? I don't understand though. Something that doesn't make sense to me is what they were trying to do with Vaughn in this film. That girl that was just there. Is that it doesn't really make any sense to me because they kind of set it up as like almost a romance between Shaun and Vaughn, and then
really I always see them as being like just friends.
But that's how I perceived it the first time I watched it. In my mind, on subsequent views, I don't even really think about it because I know it never happens in the end. But like I feel like him bumping into her, it's like that classic like trope in a lot of films where it's like, oh, it's the first time in a while that I've seen this person. Oh, you've changed so much, and then they end up starting like dating each other.
I think I find it different because I've seen Spaced, and Jessica Hines, who plays Yvonne, plays I can't remember her name as well. I honestly can't remember the character names in that film, that TV show. Sorry, and it feels like it's almost like a spiritual sequel to like Tim and what's her name? I'm gonna have to find out. It's gonna do my head in.
But stuff like this...
Daisy. Tim and Daisy. So she plays Daisy, right?
Yeah.
And it just feels like maybe they're like playing like a spiritual sequel version of them and what happened years after they've kind of like, moved out and gone separate ways. They're a few years older as well because they would have been like 26 in Spaced. Maybe even a little bit younger. I don't know. It just feels like that. It's like just like a visual thing. Like if you've seen Spaced, it's kind of more like her character isn't pointless unless you know who she is, and it kind of serves as that, not so much anything that progresses the story. And it's quite sad as well when you think about it, right? Them two survived, but everyone she was with is dead.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend didn't even survive.
Then again, but everyone Shaun was with.
Well, Diane's still alive.
Oh wait, yeah.
Diane
is Diane still alive?
Diane's still alive, yeah. Did you ever see that? There's like there's. Yeah, okay, so there's this...
I thought Diane was so dead. What the fuck?
No, there's I'll tell you now.
Is there like a deleted scene? Because I thought it was only Shaun and Liz who actually made it at the end of the film.
So basically, there's two kind of like deleted scenes, but they're kind of like animated in a way.
Oh, right.
I think one actually does explain... Yeah, it does. One actually does explain how Ed got from the cellar to the shed.
Really?
Yeah, I just remembered that one, and and the other one is what happened to Diane. So basically, Diane took the foot, got through the zombies, climbed a tree, then she ate that foot for a week, and then came down.
Ate the foot for a week?
Yeah, I think it's a week. Yeah, ate his foot.
Ate the.
Yeah,
wouldn't that? Oh no, because it's one of.
But the thing is, although at the ending when the army turn up and just rain down fire.
Yeah.
How long did it actually take for them to actually fix the problem? Because the bit where they're in Shaun and now Liz's house.
It's 5 months later.
It's 6 months later because it shows on the TV 6 months later.
But it also
so how long
also
does it take?
It also says Z Day. It's called Z Day.
Could be 24 hours.
Yeah, but that's my thing.
Why is she in the tree for 7? I need to figure that out because
unless Z Day was like just for the start of it, and maybe it did like last like a week or something. But I'm glad they took. I'm glad they would have taken it out that Diane survives, because I think that would be bullshit if she did survive. Although then again, Shaun does run through the same horde of zombies and still survives.
So I'm going to read them out to you now. So how is it? Obviously, there's a bonus feature that revealed that Diane survived the ordeal. She used Davy's leg to fight her way through the horde, then climbed up a tree behind the zombie horde and passed out. She woke up later and found the Winchester had burned down. Diane survived by eating Davy's leg. Later, when she knew the zombies had gone, she climbed down and went to live with her aunt in Birmingham. She still sends cars to Shaun and Liz.
Jesus Christ, that's brutal.
It's not a week then. It's not a week. It didn't say it's a week, but like, how long was she up there for? Also, why? Like, it's so weird.
Sure, but surely if she's like in that area where the zombies were, she was in the area of the Winchester, because she could see the Winchester from the tree. Then surely she would have seen the army, or whoever it was, the army getting there and clearing it out.
Yeah.
Surely she would have seen that. That's so weird.
That is weird, isn't it?
That's so weird. I'm glad they didn't put that in the film, because that wouldn't have made any sense for me.
Apparently, he used Ed as bait to get into the shed and did it at night.
He used Ed
we'll watch the plot whole year and we'll...
That's pretty crazy, that.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? So we just watched that. It's such a funny plot hole, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
It's like...
How does he get from...
It's so pedantic in a way, isn't it? Like...
Yeah.
If they're just really taking the piss to be like, oh, that obviously didn't, it is weird how it happened, but like that is so specific how he didn't like.
Although I do kind of understand it, it makes sense. It's
just coincidental how like a fat zombie managed to block the cellar. Army came in.
It's very convenient.
Didn't notice him at all, and then somehow Shaun went back down, even though the Winchester apparently burnt down.
Yeah, that's so weird.
So which one is it? Because if the Winchester burnt down, he would have been burnt as well.
Well, then again, he was in the cellar.
Yeah, I think it was alcohol and all that flame could have burst through those. The gas leaks, dude. Fire and the gas would have blown the shit to smithereens.
Yeah,
Think how many gas canisters in there, how much alcohol is in there. Think of the fire that would have eventually spread. If it did, according to Diane's one, that pub would have been a mess.
Yeah, but then again, I think Diane's one is bullshit anyway, because surely she would have seen the army get there.
Exactly.
So
who do you think is more realistic?
Well, I think Ed's one is far more realistic. If
the Winchester didn't blow up.
I don't consider Diane's one canon at all.
Yeah, I
because
reckon
it's so
she should have just died. Yeah.
In itself, it creates a plot hole of how the hell she didn't see the army, and she managed to fall asleep and sit there.
I think her one also makes me feel like it was like the only lazy bit of the film. Where they couldn't think. I
can see why they took it out.
They couldn't think of a way to give her a proper death, so they just kind of like threw her in there and being like, "Yo, she didn't actually die, by the way. She lived off a fucking zombie leg."
Well, I mean,
how did she not get infected from that zombie leg?
At the end of the day, I'd assume because David wasn't a zombie, was he? When she pulled the leg off him, he wasn't a zombie. They were just eating him.
Yeah, but.
I mean, it's a bit stupid.
They must have bitten him first. Oh no, yeah, the blood.
The legs came off. The legs came
Walking
off
Dead,
quickly.
they amputate Herschel's foot before it spreads. So yeah, I guess all right, fair enough. Got me there.
But he wouldn't have been he wasn't a zombie when she pulled his leg off. So technically, it wouldn't be zombie.
Good idea. No, she's now a cannibal.
Yeah, I don't consider it. I don't consider it canon at all. That, and I'm not surprised that they took it out of the film.
Yeah, true.
Because like I think it's better off without not being in the film because it just doesn't make any sense.
Okay, fair enough. I agree with that. And with that, we watched Shaun of the Dead. You've been listening to the Conversationist podcast. I'm Charlie Pitson. I was joined by
Joshy boy
himself. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe to HillRat Productions on YouTube. Check out our social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.